All right, everyone. This is Miles Anderson from San Diego. Just so you guys know, the point of this webinar is really just to introduce you to some of the more powerful features of Bluebeam. It's not necessarily a training, but more of just a little learning session to help you guys get educated on what the software is capable of. The first thing I wanted to show you guys is the tool chest feature. The tool chest is probably one of the most useful features in Bluebeam, and that's because it deals with markups. And most people use Bluebeam for markups. I would say that's the most used feature in Bluebeam. Everyone that uses Bluebeam knows how to use markups. So if you have a markup that you want to repeat, have a format for it that you want to keep using over and over again, you don't want to have to repeat that action of formatting that markup every time. So let me show you guys a way. Move this out of the way here. So say, for instance, you want to create a text box, and you want to change this text box. Say this is related to RFI, so let me zoom in here. RFI number, 1,000, whatever you have going on here, and you want to put a box around this. So you have to go, Jonathan, where do you have your toolbars located in Bluebeam? Okay, this guy's all messed up. Sorry about that. So to format this, you'd go to the little properties wheel here. Say you want to put a box around it, so you have to increase the line width. Maybe you need to increase the font size to whatever is going to fill it up. Zoom out, maybe format it a little bit, and maybe you want to change the font color too to red, just so it all matches. This gets pretty cumbersome if you have to do this every time that you want to create an RFI. So a few ways that you can do this a little bit quicker is if you just created this tool. So the tool chest is going to be right up here, or it might be on the left side, however you guys have it. It's going to be up in one of these toolbars. If you don't see it, just right-click up there and show, and you can select which toolbars you want to show. So let's go to the tool chest. So the first toolbox I want to show you guys is the recent tools. This recent toolbox is going to keep track of all the tools that you've used most recently, the markups you've created most recently in Bluebeam. So you see here, that RFI box is already there because I just created it. For instance, if I draw a line, if I draw some kind of box, see how they're all getting tracked here in recent tools? It's keeping track of what I'm making. So if I format this, if you go to properties on this, wrong one, go to properties on this tool and change that to say green. If I go back to my toolbox, you see it changed it to green as well. So it's just really keeping track of okay, anyways, it's just keeping track of what you're doing here. So there's that feature right there. If you're using something a bunch of times in a row, recent tools is great. If you have a markup, say this RFI box that you're going to be using a lot, but you didn't use it recently, you can save it to your My Tools box. So there's a few ways to do that. You can drag and drop it into your toolbox. Actually, it's not working. You can right-click it, add to tool chest, and select your toolbox, My Tools. Other way, you can just drag and drop it from the recent tools into My Tools. Now, this is just where you're going to save markups that you use most frequently. These are always going to be there. So Jonathan has a lot here preloaded into his toolbox that he uses very frequently. So this is just a good example of how you can just save everything that you use most frequently. Another thing to notice is that each of these tools in your My Tools box, if you look closely, they all have a number next to it. Now that number is actually a shortcut key. So for example, there's a 6 right next to this one. If I go into my drawing and I just hit 6, it gave me that tool, that markup. So if you guys like shortcuts, this is a really easy way to take advantage of it. So let's say let's just pull a markup in there. So actually, let me back up here. Let me show you guys the sequences tool chest. So this is another pretty cool toolbox in Bluebeam for doing a count. So select this sequence tool, if I just keep clicking through with the sequence tool, it's going to give me a count of where it is, whatever it is that I'm clicking on. So if you need to go through and count fixtures or whatever you want, just real quick takeoff. This is a really easy way to do it. You'll notice here down by the markup that I was using, there's a reset button on the count.
If you delete one, will it rearrange the numbers?
If you delete one, it does. So that's good to know as well. But you can reset that, like I said, and keep going with something else, or you can use a different one.
Can you change the increment or type of count? You can do letters instead of numbers? Like that?
I don't think there is a letters one.
On the settings, yes, you can. Yeah, I'm not sure about the letters, but you can choose where you want to start.
Okay.
And there's a lot of different little options you have that you can, if you right-click on it and hit your settings.
So if I go over here, is that what you mean?
Or maybe it's on that.
Let me see if we can change the type of count here.
There was something I was trying to use this for recently, but I don't remember what it was. But I couldn't figure it out. It was possible.
Anyways, yeah,
We'll get back to
I'm
you.
not sure, but we'll get back to you on that question. So what you can really use this for, really powerful, on a project as large as, say, the Wilshire Grand, someone on your project might have created a tool chest that they're going to use for RFIs. So Jonathan has one preloaded in here, just some symbols that you're going to use for all the RFIs that you post. Link them on your drawings. He's already done all the work of formatting all of these. You don't want to have everyone on your project go through the process of making all of their markups look exactly like this, and they're going to be using the same ones. So Jonathan's already done the work. So what you can do is you can actually take this tool chest and you can export it and send it to the rest of your team. So the way you do that is you click this wheel over here next to the tool chest you want, and you just hit export, and you just save it as a file. You can email it to them. They'll just open it up, and they just have that tool chest sitting in there. So everyone has access to it. Real great way to save time. We don't want everyone to spend time, waste their time just formatting markups all day long. If you want to create a tool set, say you want to do one for submittals, you would click on the wheel up here under the tool chest and go to add, and you can create one. Just call it submittals. Display, showing all profiles, just keep these all checked. Hit OK. You have to save it, so I'm just going to save it in the default folder that Bluebeam keeps. And now I have it down here at the bottom. You can see it. So now I have a submittals tool chest, which is now empty. So I could populate that with some of my recent tools, or I could create markups and save them there. So essentially, that's the tool chest. Just a real awesome tool to just minimize wasted work on just formatting. Markups are really heavily used, so we just want to try and avoid that. The next feature that I'm going to show is how to add page labels to your drawings. That question coming in from LA was, can you change the size of the icons? You can, but you'd have to, let's go back, hold up, I lost my page. Did I X out of the file there? What happened? I think so. What the hell is going on?
It seems our webinar guys can't hear us.
That file just closed on its own.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
You should be able to hear us now.
Okay, you want to open that file real quick?
Yeah.
What the hell happened to it? Okay, cool. Alright, so you got the file back. So again, if you want to change the size of a markup, you can do that, but you just have to reformat the markup and save it back to your tool chest. So the next feature we're going to show you guys is how to add page labels to your drawing. First, I want to direct you guys to the thumbnail view over here on the left-hand side, which allows you to see all of your sheets in a thumbnail view. A lot of people don't know that this exists, which is particularly useful if you have a large drawing set and you want to just quickly locate your page. So the problem with this drawing set is that all the pages are currently labeled as a date, which we obviously don't want. We want them to show the page numbers so we can quickly see which page we're going for. A couple ways you can do that. You can double click on the name of that page and rename it. So this one would be GS001. Obviously that would take a very long time to do for each of the pages. So there's a way to do this all at once. And the way you do that is go up here to create page labels. Now I want to grab the page label from a region. So I'm going to take the drawing and I'm going to capture the name of the page in the bottom right hand corner. So I'm going to select that option, hit select. It's asking me to select the page region. So I'm going to scroll down here to where the title of the page is. I'm just going to select it. Now it's important to scroll all the way to the right here just in case there's some longer page names because you don't want them to get cut off. If I were to stop here, if there was some page in the drawing set that had a longer name that extended out, it would just stop here at the B. So I'm going to extend this all the way out to the edge. I'm going to let go. So it's giving me a preview of what that page number is, GS100.B. That looks right. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I wanted to do that for all of the pages down here, pages 1 through 51. I hit OK. It's going to create the page labels. And when it's done, you'll see in the thumbnail view that all of the pages will be labeled correctly. So there they go. This one looks like it may have been cut off. So in this case, I started the box too far to the right, so I'm going to just redo it. Page region, select, and this time I'm going to come all the way to the far left of the box and go to the far right. Now it worked. Now I have the GS. Hit OK again. Recreate the page labels. And that should do it. Now you go through, you can see exactly what page and grab it really quickly rather than trying to scroll through them and find them. This is also very critical if you're going to try and do batch hyperlinking of your drawings, which Jonathan is about to show us. If you want all the details to hyperlink to the correct page, they need to be labeled correctly. So this is just a way to do it very quickly.
Thanks, Miles. All right, so here in LA, do you guys use Bluebeam at all to view files or to look at your drawing sets, track as-builds, anything like that?
Yes, constantly.
Constantly? All right. So hopefully we can show you guys a few things. To follow up from our question that we did have before on how to do the sequentials, if you right-click on it and you hit Define, where was that? Just had it. Duplicate format, change color. There we go. We go to sequential. We hit Define. We can actually select our style right here. And notice it gives us whatever style we'd like. We can select prefixes and suffixes to actually add on to it. And then we can also put our start number as well as our increment. So you can do that with letters as well, whatever you like. So it's very, very flexible, very user-friendly. So here we have all of our files. We notice that we have lots of page labels, which is great, which Mel showed us how to do. If you guys have ever tried to put this on an iPad, you'll notice it bogs down very quickly or crashes it because it's just too big. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to strip everything, basically strip all the files into individual files. So we can actually export or extract pages right here. We have some settings that we could choose. The main one is use page label to name files. This will make things a little bit easier when you hyperlink everything. Hit OK. I'm going to select my destination folder. And it's going to go through and just basically rip this whole entire PDF package apart and make it into a bunch of individual files that were not there before. All right. So now that I have those individual files, what we are going to do is we're going to take this, and you see how we have callouts for page labels, page numbers here. Well, we want to be able to actually click on those to go to the page a little bit quicker. And it'll actually search the whole entire document for anything with that type of page label. If you make an RFI and you actually flatten it, then they'll actually do the same thing. So you can do this with RFIs, and I'll show you guys a different file structure that I've been doing for a project I'm working on that has, I think, 600 RFIs and about 1,500 pages or more of drawings, and I've linked them all together in a few hours, so automatically. So it's kind of cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Batch, Link, and click New. Now you have to go ahead and you have to add all your files you're going to link. So we go ahead and we can do it by folder or individual files. So we're going to, or the files that are actually open. We're going to go ahead and add files, and we're going to select all of our files that we want, and then open those guys, and they're going to just kind of show up here. So our next screen, we're going to actually generate the links. You can do this by file name, which is what we did before. That's why we stripped them individual files. But if you just had a package, you could just do the file name. You could select a page region, so kind of like we did for the naming of the pages. We can go ahead and do the same type of thing, but this time it's going to recognize that page region for a hyperlink instead. Or we could do a page label, same type of thing. We look at our settings, and this is kind of a little filter that it does. So you can actually set filters, such as if an S is our filter that we want to characterize, it'll filter everything before that, or sorry, after the S, including the S, and just cut it off. And then we have also at the end, which does the reverse. So depending on how you're linking stuff together and what you're actually looking to link together, this will help you out with that. I'm not going to select a filter for this particular case. Generate. You're going to have to hit this, and it's going to go ahead and generate. It's going to basically read all those file names, and it's going to generate what it's looking for. Okay, so this is the computer saying, okay, this is what I have to recognize in order to actually create the link. Now, if you do have something like I have 1,600 links that you need to create, you're going to have to use your import and export. Basically, you'll generate all the links, 1,600 links, and unfortunately, the computer can't do 1,600 links at once, 1,600 characters. It needs to go ahead and actually do it smaller. So you could export it to an Excel spreadsheet. You can cut it down and only do 200 at a time. I find that that works really well and very efficient on the computer. It'll go through and search for those 200 characters, and then you do the next 200, and you just keep going over and over the file. And you can basically make as many hyperlinks as you want. It'll just say, yeah, it'll just say error, not enough memory, and it'll crash the program. So, link options. You could do case sensitive if you want. Whole words, I always like to have that because I don't want to do partial links. Use relative paths. This allows a lot of flexibility if you want to move your files around inside your file structure. And for this particular example, I like to highlight them. This is really useful because everyone knows when they look at a Word document, if you see a nice bright blue thing that's underlined, that's usually a hyperlink. You click on it, it goes to the web page. Same thing here. Otherwise, your hyperlinks are clear, so you don't know if it's hyperlinked or not. So this will allow you to see whatever is hyperlinked. And then there may already be hyperlinks on the page, so I want to override all the existing ones that have already been created. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and it's going to go through and search all these files here. So basically from this guy all the way down, which is roughly, I think it's like 50 files, so it's not too many, 51 files. And you can see they're already showing up, our links here. And it's almost done.
Are there any limitations as to what type of PDF? Like, can it do scan?
As long as it's text searchable, which you can do, you also need the extreme version to do this. Now, if you're not aware already, every Turner employee has an option of being able to get the extreme version. Our company did basically a package license, a wide license purchase. So IT can go ahead and get in and actually install the most updated version for you guys.
As long as you're in operations.
Operations. There you go. So we just did 100 or 358 hyperlinks right there. So really quick. So now what this does, if we look at this nice and closely, we actually see it actually created two hyperlinks. It actually recognized the GS110 and the GS110.A. So if we click on the .A, it actually takes us to that particular page really quickly. And likewise, if there's any pages called out in this PDF, it'll actually hyperlink that as well to the other PDFs. This particular one does not. Green for this particular project was RFIs, and we can actually click on this, and this is a path to our server. Now if we just click on the GS, oh, that took us right back to the same thing. Okay, so if we go down here, another example, the This particular one was one of the second hyperlinks. So it took us to our GS110, which is an overview. And this is a great example here because you can see it's our overview of the second floor. And all of our links here are already created for us. So I always get people are looking at a page and they see a link and they're like, well, why didn't it recognize that link? And the most common error is because it's the same page. So if it's the same page, it will not link it to itself. Makes sense? Because you're already there. So it's that smart. It's really cool. And again, you can do the same thing with RFIs. You could post the RFIs to a certain portion of the drawing. They'll recognize that link, and then you can go ahead and go pretty quickly back and forth between them.
What if you want to delete the two hyperlinks over each other?
You can do that by in the settings. Yeah, you should be able to do that.
So if I want to delete all the GS110 and leave the A.
Right. You can look, well, for one, if you want to do it manually, if we go to this little icon, which if you just right-click and hit show, it gives you the list of icons that you want to see. This is actually all of our hyperlinks. So you can actually select which hyperlink you want, and then go ahead and actually delete them from there manually. Or you can play with the settings when you first hyperlink it, and it won't actually do the GS100. So that's something for you guys to experiment with. Do you guys have any other questions on that?
Sorry I was late. Could you start over from the beginning?
Luckily, it's being recorded, so yes, we can at your computer terminal there. Okay, so next, we're going to talk a little bit about batch processing. If you guys want to do something repetitive over and over again, all right, we have something called batch processing. So under File, if we go to Batch, we have all these guys. So OCR is our optical character recognition. So if you have a scan that's made from either a phone or just a regular scanner, and it's neat enough, it'll actually recognize those characters, and then you can go ahead and do the batch hyperlinking on it. So that's something that you could run. Again, you need the extreme version, which you guys can get in operations. Scripting, we haven't played with that too much, but this does do Java scripting. So you can actually create smart forms. So when you click on a box, it automatically pops up a window and lets you select such as a date or put your name or ask you for something. It's a really, really cool feature if you guys want to make PDF forms. Link, we already went over that.
Real quick, going back to OCR, it's a really helpful tool, especially when you get like specifications or like landlord letters or things like that you want to be able to just search in the text. Bluebeam has a feature where you can, if you're searching for a keyword like concrete in the big spec section, you can just search concrete, and if it's not text searchable, the PDF, then it won't be able to find anything. But you're able to make it so that it is text searchable. So each individual letter will get notified by Bluebeam. So if you search concrete, it'll take you to the 33 times it says concrete in a document. So if you're looking through like a couple hundred pages and you're looking for one specific thing, it'll save you a ton of time. And so that's something that I believe before Extreme you couldn't do.
Correct.
And it's an incredible tool. I use it almost every day.
Yeah, I had a guy ask me, he's like, I have to search through 1,500 pages for one paragraph.
Exactly.
He's looking at so I'm like, well, you know the keywords?
Search a couple keywords and there, 3 hours turned into 5 minutes.
Yeah.
PDF used to be that you could do the OCR and search. So you're saying that the Bluebeam can do it also, but is this only applicable to the extreme version?
So searching is not just for the extreme version, but making it text searchable is. So if you have a PDF, let's say that was brought in by a scanner, it will not be text searchable at that point. Where if you run it through the Bluebeam program and do an OCR on it, then it will be text searchable. Does that make sense? Kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. There's also some documents that people don't want it to be text searchable that you could find a background and actually make it text searchable, or for whatever reason, whenever it is published, because it does take up a little bit more space. So they may not give you that option. A really useful one that I like are stamps. So if you like have drafts for 100 pages, you can go ahead and make up a stamp that says draft on it, apply it to 100 pages in a few seconds. So, and it'll go to the exact same location on the page. So. So you guys could play with those a little bit. Want to make you aware of them. Very, very helpful tools there. Next, we wanted to talk about creating stamps and signatures. So if you guys are not already aware, you can actually do digital signatures in Bluebeam. something that's very, very useful and tends to help a lot of people in getting that information off to email, so now you don't have to print it and sign it, scan it, and then send it back over. You can simply go ahead and put your stuff on there, your information on there, and then it'll send it over as a digital signature. And it actually makes it so that way they can't take a snapshot of it with the Bluebeam program. And it creates some data behind it. So it's not like someone could take your signature and continue to use it somewhere else. So there is some security built in. What's that?
Someone will break it.
Someone will break it. There are ways around it, but if you know what you're looking for, you can't break it then. So first off, on stamps, let's say we want to go ahead and we want to create a stamp. We go in here and we can put a subject of your stamp that you want, your author, so whoever's making it. So in this case, it's myself. Your template, you could go ahead and choose from a bunch of them. We're going to leave blank. And then you could also put dimensions to the stamp. You don't have to worry about those too much. They're not going to be hard dimensions. You can move them around later, as I'm going to show you. And then you can do some other fun stuff with it. I'm going to leave everything default for right now. It's going to go ahead and open up a page, okay? And this is where I said you don't have to make it, you know, a 4x1. You can actually move this around to however big you want, okay? So let's say I want to make a stamp of this key plan right here. What I can do is I can go ahead and go to my snapshot tool, and I could actually take a snapshot. Don't get this confused with the one that is on your computer already that probably so many of you guys use, the snip tool. This is a much more high quality snip of the actual PDF document. So it gives you a lot better definition, where if you take it just a screenshot or you use the Windows snipping tool, it doesn't work as well. So I can go ahead and paste this snip here. You can see if it was with Windows, it would be a little grainy, but it's pretty high quality there. And then I can adjust my screen however I want, and it's actually going to cut off anything that is not in this little area. So then I'll go ahead and save that. And then when I go to my plans, I could go to my stamps, and there you go, I have a stamp. I can move that around as I want, and it holds the definition of the object pretty well when you make it bigger. So very, very useful tool for repetitive stuff. For our particular case, back in our projects, we had to make approvals, so we made this custom little stamp here, and it actually stamps the date as well as the room. You could actually make this date auto as well. This particular one doesn't have it. You can change it as you see fit, but you can actually make the date automatically appear. Actually, it is, sorry, this is automatic date. There we go. Yeah, it's the 30th today. Yep. So it's today's date. It automatically shows up, and it will adjust with it. So nifty little tools there. Next are signatures. So if you do want to sign a document, we can go to our documents, I believe, and signatures right here. And we could hit sign a document. Now when we sign a document, it first gives us the option of selecting where we want to sign. So we kind of create our box there. And then you actually have to log in. And this is where the digital information goes back. You'll see some people, they make their signature onto a stamp. That's not a very secure way to have your signature. Doing it this way, I'm going to show you a few extra things that are going to show up, where a stamp, you could flatten, you can move, things like that. Once you do a signature, it actually saves the document at a particular location that you want, and then it has a little check mark next to it. And if the document's altered in any way, it'll go to an X. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. All right, so there's my signature. And to set this up, you can go ahead and click New and follow all this stuff here. You can read through these guys, and this is what I was talking about. It creates a little bit more information. It's basically a digital certificate that travels with the document that you can actually pull up to verify that it is a signature of the authorizing person. It's only released by password, and there's certain key elements that you throw in there. So we go ahead and we could insert that. Immediately it's going to ask me to save the file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So this is save the file somewhere, and now I have my little check mark here. Okay, so that means it's been signed, it's been reviewed. If someone comes in and starts to edit it, now I have a question mark. So that means that it's been altered in some way. If someone else besides my name comes in and starts to alter it, then it'll become a red check. Does that make sense? Now, I showed you a little snip tool. If you try to take a snip of the signature, and then we go ahead and we paste that, Well, notice it doesn't really work too well. Let me try that again. And it's taking our snip. Okay, it worked this time. See, the signature will not show up at all. So within the PDF program. So you can't actually copy it with the Bluebeam utilities. If you try to do it with Windows, then you get that grainy picture again, so you can obviously tell it's a forgery. So, any questions there? You could validate signature, look at the properties, and there's your information of who that signature belongs to. And you could put more information on there too. So you could put dates, you know, secret stuff, whatever you want, project names. So you can put a lot of this other information with it. Very, very helpful tool there. Okay, so next we're going to turn it over to Brian, and he's going to go through some stuff on how to do some searching. So he taught you guys how to do all of that OCR stuff. He's going to go through how to search everything. There's your files.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so kind of like I was talking about before, when it comes to, I just sent you a few more things. You have your email of them? When it comes to searching a lot of tools, you can take, like I was saying, a non-text searchable document and create it into a document where you can then search through text. I'm going to wait for those to load, but I will just jump into the other part that I was going to go over, which is studio and project sessions. So you guys at a big project like the Wilshire Grant are going to have a ton of submittals, a ton of shop drawing review with a lot of different players, architects, your designers, your engineers, your subcontractors. There's a lot that's going on, and unfortunately that's requires a lot of collaboration. And so luckily Bluebeam has come up with this great way to help with expediting that kind of collaboration by creating what they call project and studio sessions. A studio session is where you can have a document or a set of documents up in the cloud, essentially, where they are housed by Bluebeam, and you can then, in real time, have multiple different players, parties, reviewing, marking up, and hopefully approving with your shop drawings or your product data or things like that. So essentially what you do is you set up a studio session, you invite your architect, your engineers, maybe your subcontractors, and all of you can then review it at the same time without having to, send emails and just, ruin everybody's email storage with tons of PDFs going back and forth. A lot of guys not getting their emails, not checking their emails. It really helps expedite the process. And then they also have project sessions, which are a little bit different feature where they allow you to set up different documents, and only one person at a time can go into those documents. You essentially take them offline. And those are really good for punch lists. At the airport, we had another big project. We had thousands and thousands of punch lists, and so this was able to expedite it and help the process. So I'll show you how to kind of set that up. What you do is you click on this little house right here. It says studio, and you hit start, and you can just start a new studio session or a new project session. So we're going to do a new studio right here. And we're going to do, basically this open, we're going to either add open files that we have currently, or we're going to add files that we want. We're going to go into here. Where do you save it at, Jonathan? Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so we will open this sheet, for example. What you want to do is, a great feature is you can restrict attendees by email address, which means that only the people who you want to be a part of this session can be a part of it. You can't just get, different engineers or different designers or anyone else from the team. And you can click this box that'll notify them by email when they get an invite to this project session. So that's pretty nice. You hit OK. Essentially, it's then creating your session name. So then it gives you this open invitation to add different email addresses where you can invite different people you need. And then it gives you a individual session ID for this specific session, where these people can then type that session in at any time, and they can get access to your studio session. So I'm not going to email anyone right now, but and then you can also send them a message, say, hey, Frank, my architect, this is the shop drawings for the elevators. Please review. So you hit OK. And now essentially it allows you to make different markups. Say you want to do a comment this needs to change dimensions. And essentially, it will allow different people to work in this space at different times, and it automatically saves everything you do. So if you go up here and you try to save anything, you go to File, Save, it's already automatically saved, so you don't have to ever worry about making a ton of different markups and losing them, which is really nice, and your architect doesn't have to worry about it either. And at any time, you can, if you want to know kind of where your shop drawing review process is at, you can open up the studio session, and if you notice there are no markups, you can kind of ping your architect and be like, hey, when are you going to be able to review this? It really helps to kind of expedite the process, allows for maximum collaboration. We've used it at the airport. I've used it at the Semper project, and it has really, really expedited the process. The architects love it. The engineers love it. The owner loves it. It really is a great tool.
Can you use signatures in sessions?
I imagine.
Yeah, I believe so. You could definitely use it in a project session. In the studio session, you should be able to as well.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't.
One thing to add is that your owners and architects and engineers might not have Bluebeam, but there is a free version of Bluebeam that allows them to just use the studio and project session. So they don't have to pay for a license.
Does every time somebody make a comment or whatever that's invited to that session, does everybody else get an email notification that a comment's been made or something?
No, but one thing I did forget to add, which is a great point you just brought up, is so number one, typically what we do is we assign everyone a different color. So our architect will be red, Turner will be blue, our engineers will be green, and any consultants will be yellow or something. But one thing it does, which is really great, is it tracks who makes a comment and when. So essentially, if you come down here, you'll notice that Brian Pogue was the author. I created something, and then Jonathan Howard, who was on the computer, he made a call out, and so you can, and then what he commented. So you can go down here, and essentially, it'll say Miles Anderson, our architect, made a comment on this date saying something else, and so you can track your comments, and that's in this tab on the bottom here. You can have it show or not show. And so that's a good way, but no, it doesn't send you an individual email every time someone makes a comment. Oh, another great thing, too, is if you are the creator of the studio session, every day Bluebeam will send you an email update around, I think, 4 or 5 o'clock that'll let you know who is in the session and if they made any comments, so you can understand every day. If you kind of forget about your shop drawings or something for a day, you can get an email and say, oh, okay, Miles, my architect, was in there today, made all these comments, I can follow up with them now. So that's a pretty great. Correct. So if you're the creator, you're the only one who can actually finalize and end the studio session. So that way you don't have to worry about any kind of discrepancies about who gets to create it or not. So that's pretty much studio sessions. Then the other great feature is the project session. So you go here and you click on New Project. Project name, say this is First Floor Punch List. So you hit OK. And it allows you to either upload entire folders, upload entire files. So I'm going to go Upload File. I'm going to upload this first page architectural sheet. And essentially now I've got this project session has been created. And what's nice about this, it's a little different, is you've got this lock box essentially up here, and it only allows one person to be in the page at one time making changes. So essentially if I'm going to do it right now, if I go in and I click that I want to check this out, that means that I now am the sole person who can make edits to this while I'm in the checkout mode. Once again, it auto saves all the comments you're making while you're in checkout mode, and then once you're done, you just go back in here, you click check in, and then it allows it to be online again. Anyone can come in and make comments. For example, if you come in, another great feature that Bluebeam allows you to do, which is great for punch lists, I found, is say you want to make a call out that you need to install. Say you need to install your toilet here for any reason. What you can do on this comment is you can right-click and you can go to, actually I need to do something real quick. So say I have this great picture, I go ahead, I save that. So say you want to add a picture so that it becomes a little more clear of what you're trying to show the guys out in the field who walk into a room and sometimes they don't know what exactly you're talking about and they'll just leave. What you can do is you can go to capture and you can capture something from the file, and that way you can go to your here, you can upload that photo, and now on your comment there's this icon. If they say, okay, which one are you talking about? You click on it, the photo pops up. And so now there's no question. They can't be like, oh, I didn't know what corner you were talking about, or I didn't know what specific column. You can say, no, you do know because I put a photo on it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. Exactly. So it's a great feature. It really helps to kind of get rid of the confusion that goes a lot of times when it comes to punch lists and things like that. It really is a nice feature. And once again, it tracks all of the call outs that you make on the bottom line, so you can know who's making comments when, and it really is a great feature. So now you go ahead and check back in. You can say, added comments, comments in restroom. So that way everyone who comes to check in now knows what's going on, knows what comments you added. It really is a great way to kind of expedite the punch list process.
If somebody goes in there to make some comments and say they're there for an extended period of time, you want to have to
Yep.
know something like, how do you know who's got it open so you can call them and say, hey, close that button?
So when you try to check in, it'll tell you who it's checked out by.
Right, yeah, it actually shows the name of anyone else that goes in there, and it shows who has that file checked out, and the administrator can actually go back in and force check it in. So
This is similar to SharePoint.
it's very similar to SharePoint.
Very.
Very similar.
Exactly.
How do you close out the punch list item?
We can go into that.
Kind of pressed for time, so I'll just kind of explain it real quick. Is that you can right click and there are different settings that you can set it at. You can set it. So with the airport, we have different subs and different settings where you can assign each call out to a certain subcontractor, and then you can do different settings. So you can say needs to be complete, and then the subs can actually go in themselves. And as we had them at the airport, is they can then say completed by the subcontractor, ready for contractor review. And after we go through and we check it, you can say approved by Turner, ready for owner review, and it'll be color coded at different stages. So it'll be red and then blue and then green, at different stages. And then once it's approved, it'll go gray, and so we know that it's approved.
Something like that.
Exactly. So you can go to status, JV accepted, exactly. So you can do those different statuses. And another great feature too is if you've got, say you've got a room that has a lot of different punch lists, different players, different trade partners in there, what you can do is you can, when you assign them to different your different subcontractors, you can then filter it so that say only your plumbers punch list comments will come up. So that way when you send out the punch list, they won't get bogged down by all of the different drywall and acoustical ceiling punch list items that's maybe out there. It'll just be the plumber's punch list items, so that he knows he only has those 3 items. He won't try to have the excuse of, hey, I didn't know where they were, couldn't find them. So that really helps to kind of alleviate the headaches that you have a lot of times with punch lists as well.
Where's the list with the log itself?
That's located right down here. This is the log of everything. Now you can have an Excel spreadsheet, which is great for meetings, but you can also have a PDF spreadsheet, which gives you the actual pictures. So to the guy in the field, he wants plans and PDFs, right? For a meeting setting, you want to just know how many items, what they are roughly. You don't need to know the details.
Exactly, like a log to show the owner of where we are in the punch list process.
So it's very flexible. What's that? If you go over here to summary, right there, you can go ahead and choose your summary. So let's say PDF summary. First, I'm going to filter this though real quick. I'm going to say not that. Where's my color? So red is outstanding punch list. So if I go to PDF summary, all this stuff, And hopefully it does it quickly. There we go. So you could modify this to what you wanted to actually show, but you can see here it has a bunch of information as to what's going on, and then it also gives us a little bit of detail of the area. And you can make this bigger, and you can make it zoom out more if you want, give you your page number, all that stuff. So that's that. And this is actually a live working file that we have that we're currently using at the airport to close out signage. So.
Yeah. Search tool, we'll go over real quick. A lot of times if you want to try to find out if your document is text searchable, all you do is hit select text. And if you can't select text, then you know it's not. Like I was saying before, a lot of times, you got APs, you want to be able to search different things in them. Like Jonathan was saying, you go to File, Batch, OCR, you click on your Add Open Files, and you select the ones that you want to be selected. So I want to have this one be complete, all 18 pages. I hit OK, and I want it in the English language. I hit OK again, and it'll essentially become a text searchable document almost instantly, which is really, really helpful. Almost instantly.
But sometimes on your file, it could take 10 minutes or so. When I was doing 1,500 pages for engineer.
Yeah, you decide it'll take a couple. It'll take a little while.
So you just let it go and go have something to eat or go to the restroom real quick. And it usually works really well though.
So once that's complete, now I'm going to go down here to the same select text, and now every single text, piece of text can be searched. And so now say if I want to find out, you go to here, you go to search. So I want to find out about like cleanup. I can go search, and now I understand, oh yeah, we have daily cleanup in their contract. They have these vacuum cleanups, whereas before that might have taken me, I would have had to read the whole document. It takes a lot of time. If you're trying to do something very quickly like that, maybe get back to your superintendent and say, yeah, they owe us, one guy every 8 hours a week. So for some composite cleanup, that's what's in their contract. It really helps. I know, especially when it comes to you get a superintendent run into you saying, is this in their contract? Yes or no? You're the engineer, you should know. A lot of times you do know, but a lot of times you don't. So you can search real quickly. It saves you a lot of time. And then superintendent's back in the field, kicking ass. So that's what we want them to be able to do. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the compare and overlay feature. It's a really nice feature that allows you to quickly and easily find out maybe what changed between different bulletin sets in a drawing. Or you can also overlay drawings. Say you want to find out how your architectural drawings and your structural drawings interact. Maybe why there's a huge grade beam on the structural drawings. You find out there's an architectural feature for it. It really helps you kind of figure that out. So I'm going to go ahead and open this sheet, and I'm going to close this. Close this. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to do the overlay tool because that is actually the more effective tool. So essentially what you do is you go to
actually helps when you have a bullet in and then architect didn't cloud it.
Exactly. So that's pretty much the main reason that I use it, is to find out exactly what the architect changed, when they didn't do a very good job of telling you what changed. And a lot of times they'll give you little comparison. Okay, so you go to comparison and you go to overlay pages. And essentially you can either add the pages you have already open, or you can add different sheets. And then it allows you to color code it. So essentially your architectural sheet is going to be red, your structural sheet is going to be green, so that way you kind of know what's going on. But one thing definitely to take into account is to align points. A lot of times, so the sheet is essentially just going to pancake the two sheets on top of each other. However, if they're not exactly the same, then the comparison is not going to be the same. So the best way to align your points is just go and find similar grid lines, and they make you do 3 of them, and it kind of tells you. So, and you want your grid lines to be the same. So essentially, I've already got little circles ready for me for ease of use. So you click on your first grid line, and you come over here, and you get your second grid line. And you're going to do it on both pages, and you want to make sure that they are both in the same locations, or else you're going to have trouble.
You try to make sure your points are spread out over the document.
Exactly.
You tried it close together.
It's not very successful. So you want to kind of get like 3 corners of the page if you can, because that'll help Bluebeam kind of focus in on it in a better way. And so once you've got all 3 different points selected, you hit OK, and now it's going to overlay the drawings and allow you to kind of compare. And so now we've got, bam, an overlaid drawing. And as you can see, a great way to, the first thing you want to do is you want to check to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. So if you zoom in, you see I've got my 8 grid line pretty much dead on with my 8 grid line. And you come over here and you check, E7 is dead on E7. Okay, so now I've got comparable drawings. So now I can kind of start exploring and start understanding. Okay, so I've got, some added support here because I've got turnstiles coming in. You can come through and make sure that maybe your structural steel aligns where it needs to align in your elevator shafts, that you've got the sufficient structural support you need for your stairs. It really helps you kind of understand a lot of times that your structural drawings are in fact coordinated correctly with your architectural drawings, or like you were saying before, Alan, if you've got a change and it's not clouded, you can do this overlay and you can instantly see like, oh my gosh, the entrance to the bathroom is completely changed. There's a vestibule now. That wasn't there before.
It's pretty good because this shows slab depression.
Exactly, yeah. So it shows a lot of different things, and it really has been a helpful tool, especially when you're new to a project, learning how things are interacting, understanding why the structural is going in certain areas. It is a really nice tool to use. So we've had a lot of success with it, and you can print it out too. So you can have you can keep a file of it for reference at all times, and understand what's going on. So that's a nice one. So that pretty much wraps it up for kind of what we had planned. One thing we wanted to make sure we showed you as well is on our awesome Bluebeam website. Go ahead, TKN. So off our TKN homepage, if you go to our really cool Southwest website, which is by far the best website for any business unit, I think, we've got this link to Bluebeam, which is a website off of the main page that we created that has a ton of different resources that you guys can go to. We've got training videos that are either provided by Bluebeam. We've been doing bi-weekly webinars for a while, so we've got different webinars on some items that we went over. So you've got additional questions, you can go ahead and look at those. Bluebeam also does a great job of making like kind of how-to videos, different things like that. We've got PDF guides. If you're not really trying to watch like a 10-minute video and you just want to get a quick PDF, we've got an area that'll take you to show you PDF versions of how to do a lot of different of these tools that we kind of showed you. And so we try to keep it so that we're not necessarily a help desk, that you guys can empower yourselves and use this as a tool, so you guys can answer your own questions and learn anything you want about Bluebeam. But if there is a question that comes up and you don't know where to go, please feel free to reach out to the one of the 3 of us. We'd be happy to help you guys out. And if you guys have suggestions for our website or for our Bluebeam, go to suggestions, give us a suggestion. We've got a few good ones that have helped us to better serve you guys and so we can utilize Bluebeam to the best of our abilities. Is there any more questions for us?
Yeah, who are you guys?
Mine's Brian Pogue. I'm a project engineer at the Semper project down in San Diego.
Jonathan Carter? Yes. So I'm Jonathan Howard. I'm down at San Diego International Airport currently.
I'm Miles Anderson at Estimated San Diego.
Yeah, so appreciate you guys joining us today, and hopefully this was beneficial for you.
Bluebeam Extreme.
Yeah, and get Extreme if you don't have it already, because you guys are all in operations out here, and you guys should have it, and it is an incredible tool. So talk to Sean Daly, really hound him.
Right, you can also contact Victor, who set this meeting up, so